does it really mean to be a Hollywood leading man? It's not always about who's the best actor. No, 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 no. It's about presence, marketability, and a face that can sell a ticket that people pay to see. Brando, Cary Grant, Sidney Poitier, Denzel Washington. These men defined eras. The question is Michael B. Jordan Hollywood's next leading man? Let's talk about it. Real talk coming at you. Real talk.
Hey, I'm Gina Lou, and you're listening to Real Talk with the Director on Dollhouse Radio.
Hey, what's up? It's Logan Browning, and you're listening to Real Talk with the Director on Dollhouse Radio.
Real talk.
Hi, this is Alana De La Garza, and you're listening to Real Talk with the Director on Dollhouse Radio.
Hi, I'm Diane Franklin from Better Off Dead and Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventures. You're listening to Real Talk with the Director on Dollhouse Radio.
Hi, this is Monique Capri, and you are watching Real Talk with the Director on Blog Talk Radio.
Hey, I'm Stormy Maya, and you are listening to Real Talk with the Director on Dollhouse Radio.
This is Vicky Judy. Orange is the new black, and I'm here with Real Talk.
Yo, what up? This is Jay Ellis, and you're watching Real Talk with the Director on Dollhouse Radio. Keep it locked.
Hi, I'm Frida Parks. You're listening to Real Talk Radio with the Director. Hey, I'm Issa Rae, and you're watching Real Talk with the Director on Dollhouse Radio.
All I'm offering is the truth, nothing more.
Nothing more, nothing less. What's going on? Welcome back to Real Talk with the Director and the Jedi Council. I'm the Director. Be with you for the next 60 minutes or so, give or take, a little more, a little less. Real Talk's brought to you each and every Monday by B2S Media, and we broadcast live via the World Wide Web on YouTube.com//IE Network TV. And of course, the social network itself, Facebook, aka Meta, and Instagram. Matter of fact, let me start my Instagram feed over here. What up, people over there on Instagram? What it do? What it do? Okay, so we got a interesting show today. I had this conversation with a fellow filmmaker, longtime friend of mine, and it really sparked this show idea of where we talk about Hollywood's leading man, right? Now, we got to understand that the leading man, and we will break down to you in the first segment, we'll go over some of the qualities or qualifications that, a leading man kind of, entails. From a classic standpoint, not per se, maybe today the lines are a little blurred now, it's different. But from a Hollywood construct type of view of the leading man, Clark Gable, the charming rogue, right? Humphrey Bogart, the tough, brooding anti-hero, right? Or Sidney Poitier, the dignified trailblazer. John Wayne, the rugged American hero. And Denzel Washington, the modern icon, strength, intensity, moral complexity. All of those things are some of the distinctions of the examples. There's some examples of leading men. And we got key characteristics that we'll go over in depth, but I'll quickly run them down to you. Some key characteristics of a leading man. Charismatic presence, right? Commands the screen, with confidence, even if it's a little overly expressed, right? Marketability and marketable appeal, chosen not just for acting ability, but for box office pull. Key factor. Studios build films around him, right? Especially back in the day when actors were signed to studios but studios will tend to build the film around this actor, right? Physical, physique and physical idealized, right? Often tall, fit, conventionally handsome, good-looking dude. Embodies that era's key factor here. Embodies the era's idea of masculinity. That's a key factor because, especially today, the idea of masculinity has kind of evolved a little bit through the years. So that's a key factor. Romantic visibility, very big one that I see a lot of people kind of miss. Paired opposite of a notable leading lady, right? Seen as desirable, often playing lovers, heroes, or protectors. That's why you see them. They would be in some sort of sports movie or a love story movie or even a war movie. You see all of these things from, with the leading male, right? And cultural symbol reflects the shape, reflects or shapes the dominant image of manhood in a given era. Becomes part of Hollywood mythology. These are all characteristics, and we'll dig into them a little deeper as we bring on our guests. I have a small panel of guests along with my Jedi Council, of course, which I have at least one of them here. Ralph's on. He's in the building. What up, Ralph? What's going on? Welcome back.
Hello, everyone. How's everyone doing tonight?
Yeah, man. So we got a few guests on tonight, and we're gonna discuss this. And this is not to throw Michael B. Jordan under the bus or anything, but I just wanted, because given the recent big success of his film, and I've been hearing a lot of people commenting on his acting. It's not, like we said, the leading man isn't necessarily about his acting ability, but that's part of it. Especially it helps, right? To have that, to be a good actor at the same time, have those other qualifications. So my question was, with the Michael B. Jordan thing. So we have a few guests joining us. One of the guests joining us tonight is that same gentleman that I had that very conversation with, who kind of actually sparked the this whole show idea when he was when we had that conversation about the leading man, filmmaker himself, good friend of mine, good friend of the show. Welcome back to Mr. Bruce Penn. Welcome back, sir. Welcome back.
Hello.
What's going on, young man?
Yeah, what's going on, brother? Thank you for joining us.
Bad internet. Bad internet. That's what's going on.
Oh, you got some bad internet. All right, we'll bear with you on that. Oh, we got you.
Where you at in the country?
Yeah, he's in Long Island.
Where am I in the country?
Oh,
my downstairs, New York. Long time. I've
No, that's funny.
I might as well be in Venezuela.
Yeah, might as well. Oh man. Okay, and also joining us today is another friend of the show. He's a veteran in the game. All right. He's been in the game, over 30 years of experience in the distribution and film industry, works behind the scenes, he's a filmmaker himself. Some of the biggest names in the business he's worked with, including the legendary director Reginald Hudlin, right? Welcome back to the show, everybody. Mr. AJ Perez. Welcome back, brother. Hey, Tony.
Hey, thanks for having me on here. By the way, I have to make a quick comment. You've gotten so eloquent in your opening segues. I was just watching Jimmy Kimmel or, one of these other guys late night. I was actually going, wow, I'm actually on the show.
What's with the beard, man? What's with the beard? Cut that.
Well, what do you mean?
That's the California surfing beard, right there.
You know what, though? You know what the funny thing is? That she wants it longer.
Oh, really?
Yeah, that's what she said.
Hey, but you know what? At least
Yeah,
you
that's
can
what she
see
said.
me. We can never see you. For all I know, you're just some eye guy now. So
Who, me?
Yeah.
Man.
So
There's nothing special about me. I'm
there
just
you
here
are.
living. I'm just here trying to
He's in
live
the
life.
Death Star.
My motto is simply this: I'm trying to live life and not slap people. That's really it. That's really it.
Okay. Live from the
I know
Death
this is dark.
Star.
Let me.
Are you on the Death
I know
Star?
that's so
Why
dark.
are you at?
I need to change this. Hold on, I'm gonna change it.
You're like awfully
Yeah,
dark
so-
in there.
I know.
Yeah, man. It's
I
the
know.
Death
I need
Star,
to
man.
brighten
What do
it
you
up a little
think?
bit.
Yeah.
Need to brighten it
TIE
up a little
fighter.
bit.
You said a TIE fighter.
Oh, it was a TIE fighter. It looked like.
Yeah, it's a
No,
TIE
that was a
fighter.
Death Star.
It was a
No,
Death
that was a
Star.
Death
That's the
Star.
Death
window.
Star.
That's
Okay.
the window.
Yeah.
That's the window that the Emperor and Vader looks out of when they about to blow up Princess Leia's planet. But yeah, let's see here. What happened here?
What happened? You went totally
No, I'm still
Ralph.
here.
Yeah, he just went.
No,
yeah,
I'm still.
Ralph.
No,
Went
I'm still,
fully
sorry.
Ralph.
No, I'm still
That's
here.
Ralph. That's Ralph's doing. Nah,
Death Star.
but yeah, guys, yeah, the Death Star. Yeah, see, soon we start talking about it.
Oh, I can't
But yeah,
change
man,
it.
like I said, so I wanted to go over a few points of, because the real main thing of this is kind of like what I went down at the top of the show. And it's not to throw Michael B under the bus. It's just he's the hot topic at the moment. So maybe if it's like, okay, well, no, he's not a leading man, but what does he have to do maybe to get there? Because we got these
if I could jump in really quick on that.
Yeah.
I was at the Cannes Film Festival, gosh, I don't know, 10, 15 years ago when I was on one of the panels there.
Yeah.
And they were talking about diversity casting. And there were people there from Universal, New Line, Paramount. And I think it was right around the time when Fast and the Furious 2 came out, because they got rid of the only Latino guy that was in the original.
Right.
So it's funny, though, because when we talked about leading guys during the panel, I actually questioned the guy from Paramount Studios. And I said, well, how do you classify then Wesley Snipes? And he's like, oh, no, he's no longer black. He's a leading actor now. And I'm like, what do you mean? Like,
Wow.
He's no longer black.
in front of the entire panel, whoever was there at the panel that day, that's what he said. He's like, we don't consider him black anymore. He's mainstream media leading actor. So there's a thing that happens. So during that time, Denzel Washington was just, he had gotten Blade. He had, all the popularity from that. He had a Passenger 57. He had a couple other movies
Wesley Snipes, yeah.
that, what was the Marshals, U.S. Marshals?
US Marshals,
So he actually crossed over. But he has range. Okay. Like him or not, he still has range. And limited, but he does have range. My only thing with Michael B. Jordan, I like him, and I'm a big fan, is that he's got two speeds: angry and angrier. And look at the his dramatic movies. It's always the same guy. If you watch everything, and I finally watched Sinners, and I forced myself to watch it because I could not get into it, and I just saw the same guy that I've always seen in every other movie. Denzel Washington, guy's got range. Will Smith, hate him or not, dude's got range.
Yeah, he does.
And that's the first thing that you look at when you're looking at a leading actor and how they can carry a movie. Michael B. Jordan's, his range of acting and the budgets are only going to stay so high because of his range. He can sell based on TV IQ, on his TVQ. He can only sell so many tickets or be able to generate enough income, whether it's direct to video or whatnot. That's where he's at. God, I forgot his name right now. He was the the new bad guy in the MCU. He got that bogus rap for beating up his girlfriend.
Jonathan Major. Yeah,
Jonathan Majors. That dude is like that guy's got range.
Yeah,
that guy's got.
But he's not going to make it though. He's not.
But you know what though? He's getting some gigs. We'll see. He's got to earn himself back.
Yeah.
You know, but I mean, I just got invited to a screening of MI. You know, the new Mission Impossible, and dude, leading actor Tom Cruise.
No doubt. I'm gonna say this about Michael B.
That is the pinnacle that I kept thinking about the entire time I was watching it. This is where everybody wants to be.
Yeah.
You know, they want to be that guy. You know, because I mean,
great.
You know, and even his dramas. I mean, it's funny because I looked over at my date and I was just like, you know, he's ran in every one of his movies. That's all he does. He's good at running. He's a great running actor. But I said, but this guy can carry, no matter what it is, he'll carry a movie. And he's like, dramas, thrillers, whatever it is.
He puts asses in the seats. That's
he puts asses in the seats, and he guarantees $200 million on a $100 million budget. He guarantees $300 million, whatever it is. His name guarantees X amount of money.
Right.
And that's what you got to look at. I mean, there's a lot of black actors out there that have a higher, TVQ that are getting opportunities and stuff like that. But I think that Michael B. Jordan is great. He does a lot of mainstream press and stuff like that. But you know, I think he needs to go to Juilliard or something like that. Like Denzel Washington tells everybody, go
act on Broadway and act. Yeah.
I'm gonna say this about Michael B. Jordan, and there's no disrespect on him. Right this minute, no, he is not a leading man. If you look at his movies, I mean, I agree with AJ. He has two speeds. He's either angry or he's pissed. There isn't like he hasn't shown a real comedic side or romantic side. He hasn't shown that really yet. But the movies that he's done, the bulk of them are all or some existing IP where you were like the supporting guy. You were supporting guy in Black Panther. Realistically speaking, even though Creed was your movie, we're still associating that with Stallone. So Creed 3 was his own, but the first two was Stallone's movies, you know. But until you break out, and I get everybody saying, but he's in Sinners. Listen, there have been a lot of actors that have gone into movies and the movie did way better than expected. And they said, well, you could be the next guy, Vince Vaughn. You know, everybody was raving about him. But is he still a lead? Was he ever really a leading man? Right. Yeah, debatable.
No. He's an ensemble guy.
Exactly. He
yeah.
Right. Now Bradley Cooper, when you first saw Bradley Cooper, he may have fit that same thing. Like, could he be? But we're not sure. But Bradley Cooper's proven that he can be a leading man. No, he showed.
He was a leading man for a while.
Some movies, dude. Academy Award-winning movies.
No. But I'm saying when Bradley Cooper first came out, I mean, come on, he was in Alias. He was a role player Alias. Realistically speaking, the Wedding Crashers, he was a background player.
Yeah, but that's what it takes. You got to build up to become a leading man.
Well,
he eventually became.
That, but wait a minute, Kev, you're going too fast. What I'm sitting there saying, well, you're right. You got to build up. What I'm sitting there saying right now is that Michael B. Jordan right now hasn't done that stuff to say.
Yes, he has. What are you talking about?
No.
Right, well, listen. Let's do this first. All right, and welcome back, Kev. I'm gonna bring it back for a second because I want to let's kind of get the audience established. At least start from what the Hollywood traditional leading man was. Now it's changed because it's, you know, we got to look into what's considered more of a modern day leading man. And with that, I know Bruce said he was kind of struggling with his internet, but I definitely want to get him. All right, I want you to chime in on this one. Yeah, it looks great. I would like you to chime in on that from the Hollywood construct version of the leading man. I said some examples at the top of the show, right? But I think the first thing we should ask ourselves or ask for the audience to understand is the anatomy, description of what a leading man is. Define what a leading man in traditional Hollywood terms.
Right. So if you think about it for a second, so the whole idea of leading man was always a marketing ploy. Because I think, as I was talking to you, Wes, maybe a month ago, actors were signed to the studios, so they were basically their agent as well as the production house of their productions. The whole construct of leading man. And now, you guys were talking about range. Back then, a lot of the actors, they didn't have a lot of range. Like, for instance, and you basically, it was the name. So the name carried weight. If you put Cary Grant in a film, and as much as you guys talk about Michael B. Jordan as far as his range, Sidney Poitier, one of my greatest actors of all time, he was the same character in 20,000 movies. You could take that character and put him in 20 movies, and it's the same guy.
But it was the era too. So he couldn't cross over. He finally crossed over.
Well, he was the first one.
He was the first guy to cross over. And when what was the name of that movie? Well, he got slapped by that dude, and then he slapped him back. And he's like, "Hell no, you're not going to get away with that." I forget the name of the movie.
That was written into his contract. He said, "If he smacks me, I'm going to smack him back, unless I'm not going to do it." Because
that was uncalled for back then.
Well, there was a social movement. There was the undervalued people of color, actors of color. So he was always wanting to make a good representation of people, especially men of color. They had to have dignity. They had to be well spoken. Like I said, if you could take him and put him in 12 different movies, he's the same character. He's always articulate. He's always well dressed.
Well spoken.
Had a good job. Well spoken. So talk about now. He always had range, but you can't really fault him for not getting the roles of range, like Michael B. Jordan. The roles he's had, I think he's done a good job. It didn't really require that much range. Most of his characters, they were angry characters. So, but the whole concept.
But even when he played the lawyer, God, what's it called?
Just Mercy.
With Jamie Foxx,
Just Mercy.
Same thing. I mean, that was probably his best acting that he's done that I can remember.
I think we could be conflating anger with passion sometimes. He was a very passionate character in Just Mercy.
Oh,
now you can say he's angry, but
that's not angry.
What you say?
That's not anger.
That's not anger. It was more passion.
Yeah.
And don't forget, built into the history of the African American is a bit of anger. If you look at all the characters, they come from a perspective of sometimes anger, which later transforms into passion. Sidney was never angry. He was never angry.
True.
He was always that calm, reasonable, rational person. So
except for Guess Who's Coming to Dinner. He was Raisin and the Sun. He was a little bit angry in Raisin and the Sun.
Yes. Actually, I don't even think it came across as anger, but he was more diminished as a man. That's why the mother finally said, "You know what? Here, I've been treating you wrong. You're the head of the household. You do what you want with the money." Because he felt diminished, not just out of pure anger. He felt diminished. So
So, do you think, in the sense of the historical sense of the leading man, right? And it doesn't necessarily mean just obviously Sidney became that because he transcended through, race and stuff like that. But as far as the traditional sense of it, right? Some of the characteristics of it, obviously charisma, marketability, height was one thing. handsomeness, romantic visibility.
Yeah.
Now, like I said, all of these things
And
have
being able
evolved
to
a
put
little
butts in
bit.
seats.
And of course, star power. Yes.
Yeah.
All these things have evolved a little bit into the modern day. It's not like it used to be. We know that.
I don't
we're
think
not
Hollywood needs a leading man anymore. I think there's no room anymore. I think it's really, I think when they ask now, the approach is who's playing the lead. They don't even use
Right.
the term leading man anymore. I don't believe.
Right.
It's
But
always
from
Or
the
who's on top of the call
you
sheet.
tell
who's playing the lead, who gets
but
top
from the-
billing.
Well, yeah, they're doing
yeah.
nowadays just because of distribution. Because as an independent filmmaker now, that's been spending the last 3 years raising money to make my first $20 million film. It's like, which territories could these actors sell? What could we sell abroad, and then what's he going to do here? So it all comes down again as butts in the seats are eyeballs on the screen, and how much that will generate. So that's a big deal. Even when I was doing back my indie movies, my leading guys were great actors, but then also had to have the obligatory popular guy, whether he had no acting skills
Or
or
the
anything like
face,
that.
the face, as they would call it.
The face, the face. And,
what's going to help draw people to
one
the
of them
film?
was Goldberg, and the guy, acts just as well as he wrestles, but popular, and he was able to, get the money back and a little bit of profit and all that stuff. So it was good, but those are the kind of things that you have to look at now. And these studio guys, I mean, look at Netflix and what they're doing. Everything is not just a leading guy; everything's an ensemble now. If you look at it, and how they're doing
back
it.
to that.
Yeah,
they're starting to get back to ensembles. So, okay, so with that being said, today's Hollywood really doesn't use a leading man anymore, but we still have some that's kind of like, whereas back in the day, I think, Bruce, you said this before too, whereas back then, Hollywood pretty much constructed the leading man. But it seems like
no doubt.
It was marketing, right? Now it's more or less like the fans are a little bit involved, right? And Hollywood still pushes them.
Social media, dude.
Right. It's social media, of course, now. But I mean, like, remember like everyone who was considered like the leading man of that time would end up being like the world's sexiest man on the cover of whatever magazine. You know what I'm saying?
They'd part of it, though. That was the social media back then. That was their social media back then.
That was the social media of back then.
Being a commercial, being
Time
the face
magazine.
for cigarettes or alcohol on the advertising.
Yeah.
That was their version of social media. So we're going to create our leading man by putting them out there as much as possible. So when you see this person, you think of class, you think of range, you think of all these things. You think of all these things, and they become more marketable when you make a film. So if I have a really handsome guy and I put him in on the cover of a fashion magazine, next time around he's that much more marketable for my film.
Yeah, but now the difference is now, just to circle back on what kind of what Ralph was saying earlier. I didn't mean to jump all over over what you were saying. What I kind of meant was Michael B. Jordan he's already set the foundation for him to put butts in seats, or
he's
to be
got to pick the right roles now.
The leading man.
Right, Kev, I totally agree with that. If you say Michael B. Jordan, is he putting the foundation in to become the leading man for the next 10 years? I would equally say yes, he is. At this point right now, is he that person? The answer to that question is no. I don't think he is that person right now, because like I said, you have the movies he's done, 5 of them are franchise films where you play, you're part of an ensemble. The couple movies where your name has actually been above, and I'll give you Sinners, but there's a whole bunch of actors that have come along in the last 15, 20 years that happened to get in the movie that blew up, that nobody expected was going to do anything. And I said Vince Vaughn, right? I could sit there and say Bradley Cooper to an extent at that point in time of his career. Nobody thought The Hangover was going to blow up. Nobody thought The Wedding Crash was going to blow up, but they did. And then they started giving him, and they started taking every role.
Great director, though. Great director, producer.
Great director. Yes.
He's very good director.
No, Vince Vaughn.
Can I chime in really quick though? And have you guys seen Wick is Pain?
No,
Seen what?
I have not.
It's a new documentary. It come out on the making of John Wick. And and when it's a 2-hour thing. And for me it's a great study guide for how the pain that it takes to make a movie. Number two, the what we're discussing right now is like who is marketable. During that time, Keanu Reeves had before that decided that he wanted no more part of action movies and all that stuff, and he started doing romantic things and comedies and all that. And then he's like, okay, yeah, I think I want to do action again. And he knew Chad from a while before, and he had just signed on, and he had just finished shooting the 47 Ronin and Man from Tai Chi.
Yeah.
And they're like, yeah, he's got the martial art. And he was also just, before that, The Matrix and stuff like that. And they're like, yeah, I think we can make him, because John Wick was literally almost specifically done for him.
Yeah.
Right.
Almost. But they
he's a
chose
leading
him
man.
because he's got the discipline. He's got the discipline to do those type of roles. I mean, you see all the training and everything you have to go through. That was discipline, to finish the role.
I mean, hey, look, he's the guy who invented the twist of your wrist and ejecting the magazine from the gun.
Oh yeah, that the whole gun fu thing. They talk about that.
Yeah.
But the interesting part is though that the movies 47 Ronin and Man from Tai Chi both flopped. So they had distribution worldwide. And when that happened, they were about to shoot John Wick.
And they were good villains too.
They lost a Gap financer. So they were shot at $6.5 million a week before they started shooting. Everybody started giving their money back. Keanu Reeves gave back his money. The directors, the producers were selling, were mortgaging out their credit cards. Everybody's like, I remortgaged my house. I'm redoing all this stuff. And they were still shy. They only raised $1 million. And they were and every time that you're late shooting a movie, that your production goes, you're losing money. And that goes against your budget. They were losing $500,000 a week, and they lost 1 week. They had to stop production while they were looking for money to try to make up the $6.5 million that they were losing. So they were still in the hole.
Yeah.
And at the very end, the day before they started to shoot, somebody made like a weird left-hand call, left-turn call, and called Eva Longoria. She financed the movie.
Wow.
To this day,
awesome.
she said that is the most lucrative investment she's ever made, because she's made over $1 billion in profit from the John Wick movie.
That's like Demi
That's
Moore.
crazy.
As long as Demi Moore's made the movie, the movie that she's made the most money off of is the Austin Powers series. She's the executive producer of that series. She doesn't have to do another movie. Sometimes actors will say something and they'll be like, I don't know. It's kind of quirky. I don't know. But they take the chance and then it pays off for them.
But what I'm saying is, like a leading actor, a lot of times you have to suffer. I don't want to say the Wick is Pain and kind of run with this whole thing. But, he wanted to make the movie. He was all in. He rehearsed for 3 to 4 months before that to get to the shape that he needed to be in to make that movie. A lot of actors today won't do that. Especially if they're not getting paid.
Let me ask you guys a question.
So anyway, you got to count all these things into what makes a leading actor, because it's no longer just show up to work and you'll meet your director on day one and all that kind of stuff.
A lot more goes into it.
A lot more goes into it. Now go ahead, Bruce. You said you had a question.
I just want to make this one point. So I think we probably would all agree, if we were talking, I want to get back to you guys mentioning range. You're talking about the topic of range. Chadwick Boseman and Michael B. Jordan. obviously Chadwick had much more range, more range.
So sad
than,
about that movie.
But if you ask the average female 20 to 30-year-old, who would they want to see in a movie? They would have said Michael B. Jordan. He's got the abs, he's handsome. I mean, he's a hunk.
During their time together, I think a lot of people would have chosen Chadwick before Avengers came out, or the Black Panther.
Yeah.
Well, because he had 42. He had like all these other movies.
I'm talking about a certain demographic. I mean, so as a whole, obviously, Chadwick, the movies he's been in, even when he was dealing with cancer, battling cancer, his range was still phenomenal. This is when this man was dealing with cancer, fighting cancer. But my point is, he's not a hunk. He was never marketed as a hunk. He was this really good actor who had range. But they're marketing Michael B. Jordan. I mean, look at all of his films. You know, he's got the bulging muscles, and that's.
I get what you're saying.
He's being marketed as this sex symbol.
Right.
Because it's going back to the 80s. It's going back to the 80s.
The Bruce Willis, that whole because that formula works.
Yeah.
That formula still works.
It still works when it's put right. So I guess let's just say I ran these key factors down at the beginning of the show, right? And let's see if we all agree some of the key characteristics of Hollywood's terms a leading man, right? And that's from the old school and even up modern, right? Characteristic number 1, charismatic presence, commands the screen with confidence, even if it's overly expressive. Instantly draws attention when on the screen. Is that agreeable?
Yeah.
One characteristic.
Yeah,
okay.
I give that. Yeah.
Characteristic 2.
Well-written story helps.
Marketable appeal.
Definitely.
Obviously chosen not just for the acting ability, but for box office pull, right? Studios build films around him.
Yeah, John Wayne was a horrible actor. John Wayne was a horrible actor, but he was a movie star.
He was a movie star. He was a leading man.
He was a movie star, but he was a horrible actor. Talk about the same guy in every film.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah.
So marketable appeal.
He had zero range, but he represented Americana. So
he was the rugged American.
That's why they went to go
man.
see him, because he was the representation of that tough.
He was
gritty,
the Duke.
Same thing with Clint Eastwood. All those movies.
And Clint Eastwood is the exact clone of John Wayne, just the more 70s
with the
version.
Magnum, with the Magnum 357.
Yeah. Right.
The same
so
guy.
Now marketable appeal, is that agreeable around the table? Ralph sound like he didn't agree with that.
Yeah. I had to think. I had to really think. I had to think about that for a minute, because while I agree with about past times, I'm looking at now. Do you really have to have super dreamy looks to be the guy?
Well, the markability was more or less
that's part
of
markability.
TBQ, if you got to put seats.
I'll get to the looks. I'll get to the looks. That's another trait. Trait number 3. Physically idolized. Often, now I know it's changed, it's evolved, but in a classic sense, usually they're kind of tall, they're fit, conventionally handsome, right? And a handsome guy embodies their era's ideal of masculinity.
Yeah.
Is that
and you know what? That's changing, because before, the Hollywood standard has been like your leading man, because almost everybody's the same height, can't be taller than 5'11", 6 foot tall.
Right.
All these new leading guys, 6'3", 6'2". The new Reacher is 6'6". I mean, they're all beasts, and they're having a harder time finding actors to play against them.
Exactly. That's Michael B. That's Michael Jai White's biggest problem. He said that point blank. When I gotta fight somebody, I can't be the biggest guy, but I can't find someone that's as tall and as muscular as I am for me to make it look realistic.
Yeah.
So I don't know about that part, and I don't know about the part because while we're sitting here talking about that, like you said, stop show. Who's the guy everybody's chasing? Tom Cruise. Tom Cruise is only 5'7".
Right.
He's only 5'7".
Right. No, exactly. That's what I
And
said.
in the new movie,
like,
he got in a fight with some guy that was 6 inches taller than him.
Yeah. And he was able to take him on. That's the thing.
I remember Damon.
I'm not going to spoil it for you, but he took on the guy.
I remember Damon Wayans saying that he which movie was it? I think he was up for Jerry Maguire, and he didn't get it because Tom Cruise said he was too tall. But all right, let me just run down trait number 4. Here's the one that we talked about before: romantic visibility, paired opposite of a notable leading lady. Seen as desirable, often playing lovers, heroes, or protectors. These are
so here's the difference. Now, this
Can I chime in? The Rock fails at that, being a leading man that's got like a love interest, because everyone that he's had has been bad, has not performed well.
No.
In an ensemble.
Not Carla.
What's her face?
Carla Gugino from San Andreas. I mean, yeah, but
she's not a traditional notable leading woman.
What's her name?
Even Emily Blunt. I mean, you can say
Emily Blunt. That's what I'm talking about. Even Emily Blunt, but they did have like that romantic thing going, but it wasn't like, how can I put it? They had the chemistry. They had the chemistry.
Kev, I think that's the exception, because if you look at the body of work, like even Sylvester Stallone, look at the body of work, or Bruce Willis, the body of work, Arnold Schwarzenegger, they're basically solo lead guys. They don't need a leading line.
There's a thin line between the leading man and a movie star. There's a very thin line.
Two different things.
They are two different things.
And the Rock has an edge. And The Rock has an edge because he came from wrestling. That's the other thing too.
Kevin Hart will never be a leading man.
Right.
Yeah, I agree.
The Rock will never be a leading man, and he's got one range. He only plays The Rock.
And
No. Tony, I don't agree with you on that one.
Now,
The Rock wears the same outfit in every movie.
I'd like to see his new movie. He looks like he's definitely put some.
The new one that might break him out of the stereotype. Yes,
that might break him out of the stereotype.
Even Pain and Gain, really good. Even Pain and Gain broke him out of that stereotype.
It didn't to me. He's still the Rock.
I think you're right. I think the current movie he got coming out, but I think
that movie
the Scorsese movie that he's gonna have, the Scorsese is gonna break him out.
The Scorsese one that's gonna be in Hawaii or whatever, the Hawaii.
That's gonna be his first Oscar.
Guys, but don't forget, a lot of these actors, they don't want to break out into doing other things. Why? They're bread and butter. They get paid to do something.
Typecast.
So let me ask this question, because Ralph,
but you're making billions of dollars. Typecast me.
You chimed in on this. So let me ask you this. So, in your opinion, a modern leading man doesn't need to be desirable to women?
They have to. They must.
I didn't. What I'm sitting there saying is that they gotta be desirable, but like, should they be like falling all over them? And I'm saying that because I remember when Michael B. Jordan came on The View, basically all the women on The View was basically giving them the draws right then and there on spot,
Okay.
But like you said, Chadwick Boseman. Now I was at a film festival and Chadwick Boseman walked in, and I'll never forget that there was these girls that were going up an escalator, and he walked in the building. They actually jumped off the escalator to meet him.
Right.
But so I agree.
Why did they jump off the escalator to meet him? Because he was Chadwick Boseman? Or because
because he was T'Challa. Because he was T'Challa.
Or because he was T'Challa. See,
he wasn't Idris Elba. He wasn't Idris Elba.
He wasn't Idris Elba. But now
if they jump over the banister to see Idris Elba, it's because that's Idris Elba, and he's a hunk.
Right. Now,
not because of his last film. Not because of his last
film.
Some of
the guys doing movies. Now you got some of the guys doing movies today, like Timothée Chalamet. I get that, he's more visible, and I think he's more visible because of the relationship of who he's dating. Without that one, would people really be fawning all over him? I don't know.
It
Right.
seems
But
like Hollywood's trying to push him, but I mean, as far as this particular trait, the romantic visibility, and one part of it is being seen as desirable from women, right? And then like that's part of it. Now the other one is the hardest one, is often paired opposite of a notable leading lady.
And that's the distinction.
That's the one I was
That's what
actually
makes
saying
a
no to.
lead
That
and a
part.
leading man. That fact. Who are you
Right.
up
Because,
against? Who
yeah.
are you? Are you up against a Meryl Streep? Because if you could hold your own with her, you're a leading man.
Right.
If not, you're just an actor.
Well,
You're just a Hollywood, So
You're a
leading
superstar.
men, the old school Hollywood platform, to be a leading man, to be a considered leading man, you must be able to hold your own against or across a leading woman. And all the actors that we've mentioned, many of them, 90% we mentioned, could never do that. They can't do it.
Well, Arnold Schwarzenegger kind of did it with True Lies and with him and what's her face.
She's not a leading woman.
She's
She's
not
not in the Hollywood. Not in the Hollywood.
Oh,
sense.
okay, all right, yeah, all right. I take it back. All right.
I mean, we're gonna do a whole nother show on leading women because we're gonna give them their due, because then we'll be.
Jamie Lee Curtis is just a scream queen.
Right, she's scream queen.
Yeah, she's
well, we're gonna
scream
go.
queen.
Yeah, with a set of lungs like that. So, yeah, but the thing is, we're gonna do a whole show on leading ladies, right? Back in those days, you had Bergman and Ingrid Bergman, and there's a list of them
goes
from
on,
back
yeah.
then. The list goes on, right? So, but like you said, but that leading woman or leading lady was an equal powerhouse to the leading man.
Well,
every time.
Okay, Sandra Bullock and Keanu Reeves.
You know what? I'm gonna say this, and I mean this. That's a bad example because while they had great chemistry and speed, that Lake House movie was crap.
No,
right?
Come on, man.
Yes, it was.
I thought
That
it
was
was
crap.
cute.
That was actually what I was referencing, Ralph.
Right.
With Lake House. I was referencing.
Yeah, I
Speed.
thought you were talking about the Lake House too. But I actually like the Lake House.
I can say that, especially she had her time. She was considered a leading woman of modern time.
She was, yeah.
She was definitely a leading lady of modern times. Her, she'll be on that list. Of course, Meryl is probably at the top. She's on the Mount Rushmore, right? So,
every woman is compared to Meryl Streep.
Yeah,
pretty much.
And the joke is only because, and don't get me wrong, I'm not knocking Meryl Streep because Meryl Streep is an excellent actor and she's fine. But but the main thing is because every award season for like a couple of years, like for a couple of decades, she would either be nominated for something or she was winning something. It was like
Kev, they used to say it's Meryl Streep and everybody else. It's Meryl Streep.
Well, see, you got to think
else.
about this, and I'm not gonna stay on the women too long, but with Meryl Streep can play anything. See, that's another thing that's part of the leading man, leading woman thing. Meryl can play anything.
She can
you
play
can
anything.
put her in dramatic. You
doesn't
can
matter.
put her
Comedy.
in
Doesn't
comedy.
matter.
Right? You know what I'm saying? You can put her in, if it's a dark type of deal, action. She can do it all. She can play anything. She plays British. She does one of the best British accents, like if she was from Britain.
Yeah.
I think the only thing she hasn't done yet is maybe a horror movie. That might be the only thing she hasn't done.
That's probably the only thing she hasn't.
She
like,
probably
really
would
done.
never do that. She probably would
never do it, but unless maybe she wanted to do it at the end of her career, just for the fun of
say
doing
I
it.
could
But
do that too,
I
by the
guarantee you, she could definitely do it.
I'll put it like this: if she did it, I guarantee you she'd get nominated for something for doing it.
I'm sure she would.
She'd be one of the first.
And don't forget, not to just be on leading women, but for leading men, you have to be a certain level to be able to pick and choose. Meryl picks and choose what movie she wants. She has the affordability.
She has the carte blanche.
She got carte blanche to say, I don't want to do that picture because that's not going to get nominated. I want to do that one because that has a more likeliness to be nominated. So when you're on the come up, you don't have that. You don't have that advantage to pick and choose. You take you take what's given to you. You become the Samuel
Well,
Jackson of
but
Hollywood.
not.
You take
Well,
what's
no,
given
well,
to you.
no, because you can't put that on Samuel.
Yes, you can. Yes, you
Sam is
can. Yes, you
no,
can.
no, you can't. And here's why: Sam is a working
Sam will
actor.
play anything.
He wants to work. He doesn't
Yes.
care what it is. I will work. If it's a good enough script, he'll even sit down with he even sits down with the people to make the script work. If it's
Actually,
not,
isn't his nickname the hardest working man in Hollywood?
Yes, it is.
exactly.
Yes, he is. He really is.
And
but
he chooses to do that. It's not by happenstance. He chooses to be the.
Well, let me say this: as a handsome black man, let me say this: he's never been regarded as a handsome
Never.
man.
Nope.
Not actually. They meme him and they joke him. He's not Denzel Washington. So I think he knows his lane, and he's always stayed in his lane.
No, but he has range. But Sam Jackson has range.
No, not that he have
No,
range, but he's
not
saying
range.
he's just
He stayed in his lane
leading the man.
as far
He's
as
not leading the man.
You mean as being the not so handsome
he's not
a black man.
He's not Idris Elba. He's not Denzel. He knows.
But you know what he is? He's kind of scary because he could throw that MF around to make you think twice about what you go. And that's what I love about Sam Jackson. Sam Jackson and Morgan Freeman. They're two of the most dedicated actors that in the frame of reference of Hollywood working actors. They're two of the best black working actors that will work. But at the same time, you can't tell the difference between the off-screen person and the on-screen person. From listening to Morgan Freeman do interviews, it's like, you know what? He might just smack a bitch.
Yeah. So let me ask you guys this. So we kind of established and for the most part agreed upon a lot of the characteristics that kind of come with the leading man. Here's some modern leading men that I was researching because we know it's evolved. Everything is not like it used to be. And you guys tell me if you agree with when I kind of searched about, modern day leading men. The modern leading man, right? Established icon. So we got obviously Denzel Washington. We all kind of said he was, right?
No doubt.
That's a given.
That's a given.
Yeah, that's a given.
Okay. Modern day, we're remembering. Leonardo DiCaprio.
Yeah.
He's classic. He's classic and modern. He falls in both categories.
Yeah,
absolutely.
He's in both, because he's been paired with leading women.
Yes.
He's held his own. Kate Blanchett against Kate Blanchett in The Aviator, right?
Yeah.
So okay. Brad Pitt.
But that's another one.
Yeah.
That's another one. He's classic
That's a
as well as
he's given. But Brad Pitt was actually groomed by Hollywood to be who he is. From the way
that's like the classic.
He was groomed. Hollywood made that guy. They're like, this guy, no matter what he does, we're making him into a star.
Yes,
Brad
Pitt,
Pitt,
right.
Brad Pitt can be,
for example, Troy.
Yeah.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, Brad Pitt could be the Marlboro Man as well as being Neo.
Yes, you're right.
The Marlboro Man.
Okay, cool. Tony mentioned Tom Cruise.
Yeah. He's another one.
Yeah.
Who kind of broke the rules of the, the height factor, when it comes to that. Here's another one. George Clooney.
That's an example.
He was considered the world's sexiest man, right?
He was considered the world's sexiest. He was on the cover.
He's whole school leading man.
World's sexiest man. Yeah, I think that gives him the edge. Yeah,
I agree, Tony.
He's still good looking. Oh, I hate that.
Yeah, and listen, and let's be honest. The only reason why we don't see George Clooney in any movies anymore is because he's a billionaire. Because of the hero brand. Because of Casamigos.
Yeah.
Right. He's killing it right there. But okay.
Although
he sold it already.
Commercial
he's picking and choosing what he wants to do.
I'm like, stop doing them, bro. You looking like Inspector Gadget. You look like a broke Inspector Gadget. Stop doing the Nescafe commercials. about the
No,
damn
those are cute.
cappuccino.
Those are cute. I like the Nestle commercials.
Please.
I think these
He can
actors
do it. He owns a
they
part
kind
of
just
it.
make
Why
fun of
not?
themselves. He doesn't need to do it, but I think just to give him continued street cred, he does stupid
Yeah.
stuff. That's
Yeah, that's what he's doing. That's why he did that comedy that was set in Indonesia. What was it? It was for like Hulu or whatever. And God, it's
I've kind of
and then
lost track of his
it was like
films. I
a
know last one I
shotgun
saw he
wedding
did
type
with
of
Brad
movie,
Pitt.
and it
Oh,
was
I know
so
what you're
bad.
talking about. Yeah. I know what you're talking
It was
about.
so
It was
bad. I was
Wolves
like,
was with Brad Pitt. That was the
Yeah.
one with Brad Pitt when he was the Wolves. They were like, you know, the one thing I say about George Clooney, man, that dude, obviously his biggest people, the biggest joke about him that they talk about is Batman movie, right? Which wasn't his fault. It was actually I blame what's his face? Who was that?
Schumacher.
I blame
Yeah.
Joe
Schumacher
and the writer.
Yeah.
But
Dude, okay,
but-
so I have to tell you something about that. That was the studio. A lot of those decisions,
studio.
the ass and,
I can say,
and
of
the
course,
nipples,
Warner Brothers.
that was the
Of course
studio.
they did.
That had
Yeah.
That was
nothing
the
to
studio.
do with that. Yeah.
Not with Joe.
Yeah.
Okay, but what I was saying about him was, I'm like, yeah, you know what? Yes, he's regarded as the worst Batman, but he ain't the worst Bruce Wayne because that MF is Bruce Wayne in real
He's
life.
Bruce Wayne.
That's
Yeah,
why
yeah, he is.
he's a good Bruce
Yeah.
Wayne.
He's Bruce Wayne. Yeah.
I loved when it
That
brought
dude-
him back in the Flash and he was actually Bruce Wayne. I was like,
Oh,
That
that
was
was
great.
awesome.
That
was
was
fucking
awesome.
great.
That was an awesome cameo, him in the Flash. So, with that being said, we kind of here's some of the newer guys, and these guys are the guys that aren't. But how far do you think they might be, or do you think they're almost there? Ryan Gosling.
Yeah.
it's after AI.
Yeah.
I mean, he's already he's checking some of the boxes off for sure.
I think the
Right?
guy's got 5 Oscar
Paired with a
nominations.
lead,
I
Five
say
Oscars,
yeah.
paired with a leading lady. He's been
He
paired
can
with
sing and dance. He can do everything.
Yeah,
He's
Yeah.
a like classic thespian.
yeah, he is.
Yeah.
Yes, you got him in La La
Disney
Land.
kid. That Disney kid.
Yep. Disney
Yeah.
kid. That's something, right? So Ryan Gosling, I think he's pretty much there, right? He's
Yeah, he's there.
agree. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so now what about this guy? Phenomenal actor, but I don't know if he's there yet. Jake Gyllenhaal.
No.
No.
No
No.
way.
Not
way.
yet.
No. No.
No way. No way.
Y'all
No.
bug.
No.
No way.
I like
I've
him.
seen
his
I like
movies.
him a lot. But
Yeah,
I like
Great
him.
ensemble.
He's like, I like him a lot. Yeah,
That's not what we're talking about.
Let's let the audience.
But we're not
understand.
talking about
This
whether or not
is-
he's got
right.
range and good actor.
Right.
We're
This
not
is
talking
not a
about that.
roasting. It's not a roasting session on these actors. We're just trying to really determine because everyone on this panel,
he's not a leading actor
we're
guy. Though.
all right. Yeah, we're all.
And he has
not
tried.
only
I
experienced-
give him that.
Right.
He
We're
he
not
had,
only
I mean, I like
experienced enough,
Jarhead.
we're-
I loved him in
He's not
Roadhouse.
there, yeah.
I thought he
Yeah.
did great in
I didn't
Roadhouse.
see.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I liked him in
mean-
Jarhead. I thought he was good in South. I thought he was really good in Southpaw. I was
Yeah,
like,
he was
wow.
good in that.
I thought he was
But listen,
good.
guys,
but there's
we're not
something about
talking
the guy
about-
that's like,
Y'all are bugging.
But we're not talking
right.
about an actor's proficiency. As Wes was saying, there's certain
Mhm.
boxes that have to be checked. All
Right.
the actors that Wes names are probably proficient actors. I mean, we all agree, oh, they can act, or they wouldn't be in Hollywood. Well, no, forget that.
But you can't say that about Jake Gyllenhaal. I don't know about the.
I don't
The,
think he's a
the
leading
best
man.
movie that he's done, in my opinion, is the one where he was one of the two cops. What was the name of the movie?
in the watch, in the watch,
And the
That was-
Watch. That's probably
The
one of
Watch,
his
yeah.
best movies.
Please
But he's a
no,
good actor.
Nighthawk. I mean,
Nightcrawler.
But
Nightcrawler.
see, I think
Nightcrawler was
the
He's
knock
a good
against
actor.
Jake.
But once
I think the
again,
knock
we're not.
against Jake Gyllenhaal,
But
is
he's not
simply that
leading. He's
doesn't-
not leading.
He
He
does-
fits a box.
he
This
doesn't really put
is
ass
the
in
budget
seats.
that he fits in.
Yeah,
That's
he
it.
doesn't really
You
leading
put
in
know,
ass
all
in
he'll
those
put
seats.
the money on this box.
Actually, he was leading in all those films and in Nocturnal Animals. He stood up good against what's her face, Nicole Kidman.
Yeah, but I think
This
the
is
knock
the
against
budget
him
that
is
he
that
fits,
is
though.
that he
He
does
can't
he
go
does not
beyond
put
this
asses in the
box.
seats. That's
Yeah.
gotta be part of it. Like his name on that marquee. If his name is first on the marquee, are you really going to go watch it if it's not an existing IP? Probably not.
I am because I'm just a fan of him. He's one of my favorite actors. So yes, that's a yes for me.
But yeah, but see, this is the other thing that
That's like
when
me
you say
saying that
when-
Sam Jackson is my favorite actor because he's He's
did
next
10,000
year.
movies.
Guys, let's not forget a leading actor. The whole appeal of a leading actor is to appeal to women audience
everywhere.
Not just to being a good actor, but the whole iconic platform for a leading man was the appeal to women, because they, it's not just, look, I don't want to go see a guy. I don't want to go see a movie because
That's
the guy's
like
a
the
hunk.
majority of the reason.
But listen, I don't want to go see a movie with Idris Elba because I think he's a hunk. I want to go because he's a good actor and because I like the theme or I like the movie. A woman, on the other hand, might say, "Oh, I don't care what movie it is. It's Idris, and I'm going." So there's two different mindsets.
But but again, that demographic of woman goes back to, and it's still kind of relevant now, but it more so goes back to the 20s, the 30s, and or the early days of Hollywood, where leading men were like real hunks, up until like James Dean. That's when the bad boy era really started floating in. And but for now, I think, and back then I think more women, I wasn't around back then, but it seems to me like more women, like the box office was meant to put more women in seats.
Do you know who was going to? Do you know who was going to the theater more than anybody? Probably the demographic of women.
Yep.
Burt Reynolds. Were going to the movie. They were going to the movies more than men because men were out working during that time, and women had time and expenses to go to
during the day to go to matinees. Yeah,
that's right.
They even showed it in certain films. In certain films they would have women, even in some of the South American led films that were based out of South America. Some of the women would be like, "Oh, I'm going out." The women that were married to drug dealers. "Oh, I'm going out to the movies. I got, it was like the Tuesday matinee was always a part of their.
They would go out part of part of the American thing. And I'll say this with that being said as well. Yes, the women are going to be like, because they may not even, women typically don't dig into movies as much as men. And I'm not saying all women, but typically over the scope, right? We have numerous reasons why we will go to see a movie. No, very rarely, and it's exception of a few actors. Very rarely, men make the decision to go see a movie just because that actor is in it. Very rarely. Yep. We have,
and if it's not an action movie,
right.
Yeah.
We have
very
numerous
rarely.
reasons why we go. Yeah. Whereas women historically have made that decision based on the actor that's in the movie. You see what I'm saying? So that's why
the genre
part of the the genre.
It's got to be comedy or romance,
rom-com, or something like that. Maybe say I want to go see a rom-com.
That crappy Lake House movie. Just saying.
So man, with that, but I really wanted to. This is good. I want to continue this with the women, maybe even next week or whatever, or the week after, because I really think the biggest misconception or biggest confusion, I say, is that thin line that we walk between leading man and or leading woman and movie star or really good actor, because it's no question of their acting. That's not even in my I don't even include that in this particular thing, because you got some actresses that were pushed by Hollywood to become a leading woman.
Angela Jolie.
And they're not that great of an actor. You know what I'm saying? It was like, so we already know that Meryl's the exception, right? She's great, and she is a leading woman. She's a box office draw. She goes in the film. You see her in the film, it's like, oh man, Meryl Streep's in it. But you got the people
What's she gonna give me this time?
Right, exactly.
What's she gonna give me this time?
I would love to explore that with the lead. But before I wrap it up, is because the title was about Michael B. Jordan. What is it? I'll get from each of you. What do you want to see
we lose Wes?
More? Well, you don't.
No, Wes
you don't hear me. I'm here.
Wes is there.
No, I hear you. Okay. I hear you.
Oh, okay.
It's another AI thing.
What happened? What would you guys like to see from Michael B. Jordan that you think can help propel him on that road? We all agree he ain't there yet. What would you like to see from him? You know, say I want to see I'd like to see a war film from him or something like that, or some other type of film. I'm just using it as an example.
That would be too easy.
Seen it already.
Well, I'm just. It was just an example, Ralph. I'm just saying. I'm just throwing it out there, right? So, what exactly? We'll start with you.
I'm going to say his next project, this another remake of the Thomas Crown Affair, where now you're like a romantic lead-in, quote unquote cat burglar thing. Let's see, and then who is going to be the girl, right? That's because now you're gonna start playing a romantic kind of person. Right, so if you come in and you really are not being with the gruff and like your lip, the left side of your lip come run up because you angry and
so
you
you can't be angry in this film.
Nah, you got to be smooth and suave. You got to be smooth and suave. If you could pull that off, now I can sit there and say, yeah, now he's making the transition to full blown leading man. Because now I can see that he can play the angry tough guy, but he can also play the sensitive soft guy. You know, I don't need you to see you. We know you did the war movie. We know you could do action. Let's see you do that part. You know, so that's what I'm gonna say.
Okay, Bruce.
I missed the first one. Are we talking about Michael B. Jordan?
Yeah. What would you like to see from him going forward that you think could help propel him towards that leading man road?
Well, definitely. I think which would be the test for him is to put him against one of the best leading women.
Okay.
Put him across from her, and that will test his mettle. But I'm not sure he'll get that shot yet. I think once that happens, that's the proof that he's arrived. Before that, unless that happens, I don't think he'll get there. I mean, I think you could put him in different roles and so forth, but until the day that he's playing across a leading woman of equal stature or greater, I don't think he's going to be a leading man, personally. That's just me.
Okay. Yeah. Tony, what you think?
You know what? And this is reaching for this guy. And I think that if he were to do a Hitchcock style film, Rear Window, something like that can literally just acting, no action, not any of that stuff. That's what I'd like to see him do.
Wow.
You know, like something that's really a really good thinking person's thriller, where he's got to get out of something, or Rear Window is a great thing.
Jake Gyllenhaal did that. Remember when Jake Gyllenhaal did that and started getting creepy? First, he was just a nice guy.
Yeah.
Then he started doing these psychological thriller movies, and you're like, oh shit.
But that's what I think that he should do. He's got to do something where he's not the guy that we're expecting.
Tearing off his shirt.
Yeah, he's not brooding.
What do you think, Kev? What would you want to see?
I think he's already there. It's just the point of what's his next pick is going to be. I think Sinners has set him up to do for Hollywood. It's just who's going to take the chance to put the money behind him. I honestly don't care what it is, because I think he has range enough to do just about anything. It's just the point of him, because he's a method actor. So he digs in. Once he's in, and he does his homework. He does his research. He's also partially theater trained. So I think the world is his oyster right now. It's just what studio is gonna take the chance to put the money behind him outside of Disney or out of the director, or what's his name, Ryan Coogler. Yeah, besides Coogler, or
I'm gonna say That's dope. I'm gonna say that it's kind of like I'm kind of with Bruce, but to be more specific, I'd like to see him, and I don't care what genre it is, other than like an action. I don't really want to see him paired against another leading woman in an action film. I want to see more of him paired against like he said, a notable leading woman, right? It could be, even though I hate rom-coms, it could even be a rom-com. You know what I mean?
I don't like rom-coms personally. Now, so I don't know.
I don't like them personally.
If it's a good one, I like the proposal.
I mean, yeah, right. I don't like them personally, but I would like to see something like that. If he's put in front, put him in with some of the powerhouses. It doesn't matter who it is, but it's got to be a notable one, or whatever they play. And long as you are across from that leading woman, you don't even necessarily have to be the leading woman's love interest, but that would help too. That would help too in that particular film. But reason why I said that is because if he's in a movie with Viola Davis, I doubt he'd play her love interest, but she is a leading woman. You know what I'm saying?
I know, man. They could do a remake of The Graduate, and he's playing Gus Norton Wood. You know what I'm saying?
That would actually be
you really
crazy.
like this guy.
That would be crazy, actually, if they did that with those two.
Mean, no, I think I'd like to see him in something like that. I love all of. I really like what everyone said, because everyone said something different, really, and yeah, like I said, it would probably put him on that road. He's not there yet, in my opinion. But he could definitely be put on that road. Thomas Crown Affair, Ralph brought up. That'll be interesting to see how he plays that. That's the first hint right there. He's got to play that. I hope he watches a lot of, watches obviously the gazillion remakes before it, or not gazillion, but the few remakes before it. And of course, watch some Bond flicks, just try to get your suaveness down. You know what I'm saying? If you go play remake.
No, I'm gonna tell you. No, he doesn't. I'm gonna tell you what he should watch. If you really want to be that leading man guy, right? And right now you've been doing a whole bunch of movies in the action drama. Go watch Boomerang with Eddie Murphy. Even though he's still comedic, it showed him in an entirely different light of how he could be.
Right.
And you could see the same thing with Denzel, except like seeing a movie like Mississippi Masala,
right,
or The Mighty Quinn, showed him in a different standpoint where he could do some sort of comedic aspect to his game. Like I said, you ain't always got to be the angry tough guy that's got like a vendetta because you had childhood drama, and now you gotta, I gotta do right by my hood. Stop that. And even you could even look at Ice Cube. I mean, he's not that dude, but Ice Cube came into the game, this rough tugger dude. What's he most known for? He's known for,
right?
Right. He's most known now for Barbershop, playing the dad,
That's right along.
But now he's playing
along.
So let me say this before we end the show. His next 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 movies. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I can't count. 5 movies coming up for Michael B. Jordan. As we mentioned, the Thomas Crown Affair is an upcoming film. Rainbow Six. So that's obviously going to be like a war, tactical film. That's John Clancy. That's John Clancy stuff, right?
Yeah. He's gonna buy that.
You got Wrong Answer is a movie. I don't know. It says here it is an action, adventure, crime, drama, romance, thriller. A math teacher in Atlanta. A math teacher in Atlanta, USA, is scandalized when he looks to get funding for his school by altering his students' test scores. Okay, that's a different.
All right, okay.
That's some lean on me shit. That's some lean on me type stuff.
No. That's stand and deliver. That's the total opposite of lean on me. That's because
Well,
now you're.
I'm just
Is it?
saying, being an educator and getting into controversy, doing
Oh
something
yeah, all right.
that's
With that
wrong for
part,
the
yes.
right reasons, right? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Doing something that's wrong for the right reasons. That's lean on me. You know what I'm saying? That's
No,
all I meant.
Joe Clark. I think Joe Clark was right for what he did because that school needed that. But
But it
that's
was
neither here nor
no,
there.
but it was the right reasons, but it was against the law, so it was technically wrong.
Oh yeah,
So that's what
the locking the doors. Yeah, yeah.
I
Lock
am
the door.
never going to say anything bad about Mr. Clark.
No,
Never.
of course not. Free Mr. Clark. Free Mr. Clark.
I mean I know Joe Clark because I'm one of my friends. He used after he was a principal. He used to run a youth house down in Newark, and he was one of the security guards. I've actually met Mr. Clark a couple times. I am never going to say anything bad about Mr. Clark because Mr. Clark was certainly unconventional, but he always was in the right place, and he was like, if this school over here has these things simply because they're in the better class grade as far as funding and money or circumstances, my school got the same problems. We should have the exact thing. If you're not going to, my main priority is the children. That's what it was. And so he said, if they don't want to do it, then I gotta come up with something because I can't have these drug dealers and crap running through this school. No,
I
ain't
mean,
about
no,
this.
like, yeah, exactly. I mean, that's what it ain't saying nothing wrong about. I'm just saying, as far as the film goes, last two films, he's doing another Creed and I Am Legend 2 with Will Smith.
See,
Oh,
right,
now
right
that right there,
those are the five. Those are the
right
five
there,
lined up.
Yeah, that right there, I'm in for the I Am Legend because Will Smith has put this off for way too long. He's put this off for way too long.
He's dead.
The thing, right? The thing with this is, I mean, I'm looking forward to seeing all of them, but out of all of these, my eye is going to be on the one that I read about him being the teacher. And as far as me making my case for him becoming the next leading man, because making another Creed is just what it is. It's making another Creed. That doesn't prove anything. You know, I Am Legend 2, you know, okay, that's one of those sequels that's done way too late. Hopefully it's decent.
Not necessary. Not necessary.
Not necessary, but hopefully it's decent. Thomas Crown Affair, I'll keep my eyes. Rainbow Six, he's gonna do great on. We know that. But he's, you know, we've kind of seen him in that light before. Thomas Crown Affair is going to be different. And this Wrong Answer seems like it's going to be one of that might be the film that makes the difference. So
yeah, my three is the Rainbow Six, I Am Legend, and the Teacher movie. Those are my three picks that I think that are going to be stand out for him.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I mean, that's pretty much the show. I want to thank y'all, all my guests, for coming on today. I think this was a great conversation, man.
Well, did you guys see the Viola Davis movie where she plays the president?
I haven't seen that yet.
G20. I like that. It was pretty good.
It was really good. Good action movie.
Interesting. All right, well, I'm gonna check that out. There's a few that I want to check out, but of course, Mission Impossible is my next mission, and I choose to accept it. So
you know what, man? I'm gonna tell you this, right? I got an invite, and shout out to Demetrius Angelo. His Urban Action Network sent me an invitation to that Mission Impossible screening that was in New York City yesterday. And I said, damn, I would like to go. I was gonna take my mom, but they said it was like an all-day thing, and I didn't think she was gonna make it, so I didn't go. And I was telling her, I said, they said some cast members are gonna be saying, who the hell really gonna be there? Why was the whole damn cast of Mission Impossible there yesterday?
I can imagine.
Dude,
so
all I can tell you is that movie is out of this world.
I'm gonna see, and then the knife in my back that didn't even. I'm looking at Demetrius's social media. He got pictures with Tom Cruise and Angela Bassett and the director and Simon Pegg and The Weeknd. I was like, motherfucker.
Yeah.
Damn.
Everybody, I'll say, I'm gonna say this since you mentioned that. You noticed everybody, and I like this. I have to say this, and shout out to that documentary on Apple, the #1 on the call sheet. And I saw it with that. With
Yeah, that was really good.
really
Yeah,
good. I'm gonna say this. I've noticed it's kind of like a united front because they want to get these films. The actors are going out and they're supporting these movies. They're supporting each other's movies because they want to continue to get people to go out to the theaters and support the films. So obviously Tom Cruise came out to Sinners, not saying that Sinners didn't deserve all the support that it got, but it got a huge amount of support from other Hollywood actors. And that was for a reason, not only because it was a good movie, but because it was important for that movie to do well. Because they, given the fact of as we know, it being original IP as opposed to IP that's already out there existing, stuff like that. The actors see that as important for it to do well, and they support. And in return, he comes out and he supports them. You know what I'm saying? So he came out to the Mission Impossible thing, with one of them, and supported. You see the other, you saw you said you saw The Weeknd there. So I don't know if he has anything to do with the soundtrack or anything like that, but of course he has a movie out, right? So everyone's just trying to, it's bombing, but the point is, everybody is trying to they kind of come together. And the reason why I mentioned number one on the call sheet is because it's especially with the men version. There was a men and a women. They were a lot of loving, showing love to each other, giving each other their flowers, including Will Smith. Everybody was like, yo, you hear them talking about the other actor like in a high standard as fans, right? And I love seeing that because that's the way it should be. You know what I mean? There's still a community, right? There's still a community.
Especially nowadays.
Yeah, especially nowadays. There's still a community. And I like the fact that, you see, oh, so-and-so, they say that, oh, man, they were showing so much support for the other actors, man. And I love it. And you're going to start seeing that a lot more. These guys are coming out to support these films. And a film like Sinners had to do well.
You're gonna have to call me and tell me why you like it and why do
I like who?
Sinners.
Oh, I mean, yeah, I'll tell you why. I mean, as a few things.
You're gonna have to call me. I don't want to drag this on.
Yeah, but no, we're into the show. I appreciate you, man, for coming on. Thank you very much, brother.
Thanks for having me, dude. It's been a while. Nice talking to you guys, AI guys.
Good insight.
All right, brother. I need a I've been thinking. I want a rematch of that whole music battle thing. We did the movie year. I want a rematch. I lost by one, and it's been
the movie years.
It's been irking me ever since then. I need a rematch. I need a rematch.
Man. We have to put one together. I'll talk to you soon, Tony.
All right, guys.
Peace out, brother.
All right, Tony. Man.
Yeah. So that's pretty much the show, man. But once again, I'll end it off by saying, not every great actor becomes a leading man, right? But and not every leading man is a great actor. But the great ones have something more. They command the screen. They have that little extra gravitas, if you will. All right. And Michael B. Jordan, he has a lot of tools. The question is obviously, has he arrived? We answered the question. The consensus, or the general consensus on this panel, says he hasn't per se arrived yet, but he's on the road. And right, he's on the road, and his defining moment is still ahead. But you guys let us know what you think in the comments. If you're watching the show, not watching it live, leave a comment. Let us know what you think about, what would you like to see Michael B. Jordan do? I just ran down his next 5 films, but within those next 5 films, not everything we mentioned is in there, but there's a couple things I can kind of cover it out of his next 5. Let us know what you think. If you got any other leading men ideas, that's right. And then next week, we will come back and we will give the proper due to our beautiful and talented leading women. So that's it, man. We'll catch up with y'all next week, and peace out.
Deuces.
Watch it be on the loop. Sha-la-la-la. And it's gonna loop again. Sha-la-la-la. It's always on that loop. I don't know why. Peace out, y'all.